Hello everyone, it's Julia Lefebvre here, founder of the StrongHER Community and the Fueled for Life program. I'm excited to bring to you today our protein workshop. So before we kind of hop into it, hopefully we'll have some people hopping on. Just say hey in the comments below when you hop on here with me, and let me know where you are watching from. So just to reintroduce myself, because I know there's a lot of new people in our community. There's people watching this on YouTube. So I wanted to take just a quick second to introduce myself before I get into our awesome content I have prepared for you today. So I'm a mom of 3. I am a former elementary school teacher. I was a teacher for 10 years. I'm a certified nutritionist, and I have been coaching women in the wellness industry and in their health and wellness goals for over 6 years. And most specifically, over the last couple of years, have been focusing on nutrition and coaching women in nutrition as a certified nutritionist, and making our focus with macros and flexible dieting. So we're going to talk today about protein. I'm going to talk about why protein is important, how much we should be eating, tips to help you fit that in, and some ideas for great high protein sources. Okay, so I want to know, have you ever had a goal, or if your current goal is this, have you had this goal, or is your goal to build lean muscle? You want to be lean and strong. So let me know yes in the comments, or put the words lean and strong in the comments. Let me know if your goal has been to build muscle and be lean and strong. So a lot of women that I talk to, that's their goal. They're either, they want to lose weight, they want to burn fat, but they're like, I just want to be lean and toned. Then I ask them, well, are you prioritizing protein? No. Or I don't know how much protein I should be eating. I don't know how much protein I should be getting. I just eat healthy is usually the next response. And so protein plays a really important role in our ability to build muscle. If you want to build a lean muscle, you need to prioritize protein. So I'm going to talk a bit about it. You guys are going to see me looking at my notes. I want to make sure I'm covering everything, but I'm going to cover those 4 things for you guys today. Talk about what protein is, why it's important, how much we should be consuming. Then I'm going to talk about some tips on how to get it in, because that seems to be the hardest one for women to be able to get in. And I'm going to talk about some sources of protein that are great sources of high protein to help you hit those numbers and get in enough protein so we can burn fat and we can build that lean muscle. Now, let me clarify here this. If you want to burn fat, if your goal is weight loss, fat loss, you need to be in a calorie deficit. That's simple. There's no fat loss food, and if someone's going to tell you that there's fat loss food, there isn't. This is going to help you lose fat. Calorie deficit. So no matter what diet plan or anything that you follow, if you are losing weight and burning fat, you are in a calorie deficit. It's that simple. So I just want to make sure I clarify that there's no fat burning foods. But if we want to build that muscle, we need to prioritize protein. So here's what is protein. So protein's one of the 3 macronutrients: carbs, fats, and protein. So protein is one of those macronutrients. They are all important, but they all play a different role in our body. So protein helps our body with growth, maintenance, cell, and muscle repair. So protein contains our body's source of amino acids, and there's 20 different amino acids. Some of those are non-essential, which means our bodies can produce them themselves. And then there's the essential amino acids, which we get from food sources. So it's really important that we prioritize protein to give our body the nutrients it needs to function at its most optimal. It's also important that we get them so that we get our protein from different sources, because we want to make sure that we are fueling our body with all the amino acids that it needs. So we want to make sure that we're prioritizing that protein, consuming different types of protein so that our body can function at its most optimal. So how much protein should I be eating? Now it's going to be different for everybody. Very different. This is why working with a nutritionist is really important, because you can be told everybody has to eat the same amount, but it's not. It's all dependent on your body, your body's needs, your goals, your history. But it's really important that we are prioritizing protein and getting enough protein into our body. So for my clients, generally, it is recommended that we consume 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound. So for example, myself, as someone who is 140 pounds, it is recommended, if I use that type of calculation, that I should be eating about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound. So the example would be that I would probably be eating 140 grams of protein per day. Now, for some of my clients, I will do more of a percentage for them. Now, it all depends, but I will give them a range between 25 to 30% of their daily intake will come from protein sources. Now, this all depends on what their goal is, what their history is, past diets that they've done, what their current weight is, their biofeedback. This is a huge one that is often not taken into account when you do different diet plans or fad diets. And so we want to look at sleep, hormones, energy level. And the huge thing, like I said earlier, is the history. Have you been dieting on and off? Have you been in a calorie deficit for long term? We want to look at that piece as well. So that's all really important. That plays a factor in how I decide how much protein or how much carbohydrates or fats a client should be consuming in a day. I take all those things into consideration when I'm coming up with that. But those are two different ways. I might give them a percentage, or I might give them, the 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound. Okay, so it all depends on the client, on which one I'm going to use, but that is a general idea of how much protein you should be consuming in one day. So I want, earlier I asked the question, have you ever had the goal to build lean muscle? And so, do you ever feel like, okay, I feel good, I eat healthy, I'm lean, but I'm squishy. Like my muscles are squishy. Like I don't feel toned as I want to. So I want you to put in the comments yes, or, have you ever felt like you're, just squishy? You're not building that muscle that you want to. So this is where it's really important, because I hear this from women that I just want to be leaned and toned. I want to lean out and be toned. I'm not really, interested in the weight on the scale, but I want to be leaned and toned. Okay, it would be okay if I lost a little bit of weight, but I just want to be leaned and toned. I want to feel stronger. I work out, I'm doing all the right things, but I don't feel leaned and toned. And two things. One, you need to prioritize protein, because like I explained at the beginning, what is the role of protein? It helps us build and repair muscle. So if you want to build and repair muscle, if you want to build that lean muscle, you need to prioritize protein. It's just that simple. And you need to prioritize strength training. No, you do not have to do hours of strength training 7 days a week. That is going to be a way that you're going to get injured or you're going to burn yourself out. 3 to 5 days of strength training is enough for the body to be able to build lean muscle. As long as we're prioritizing it with enough protein, we're getting that rest and recovery that our body needs, right? It's really important that we're including that as well, and we're getting to rest our body so that our muscles can repair and rebuild. And eating protein is going to help you do that. So you need to prioritize that, but also pair it with that rest and repair as well. Okay, so that's really important. So here's a few tips, because I know, so I want you to type the word protein in the comments if you struggle to get in enough protein in your day. If you feel like maybe you're hitting it every day, but you're like, oh, so much protein, or you're having a hard time getting your protein in every single day, or maybe you don't even know how much you should be consuming. You're just following a certain plan that's telling you how much you should be eating, but you're not really sure if that's the right amount of protein you should be consuming. So type the word protein below. And I want, if you struggle with that, because I want to share with you some tips now on how to get in enough protein. The lighting is changing in here. Okay. Oh, that's too bright. Okay, so let's talk about our protein and some tips on how to get that in every single day, because we want to make sure, like, if you're having to eat 120, 140 grams of protein every single day, how are we hitting that number? So this is one of the biggest struggles I hear from women, and so I want to give you a few tips that are going to help you, and then I'm going to share with you some really great high protein sources, okay? So one, prioritize protein at every single meal. Eat protein at every single meal, pre-workout, post-workout, make sure you're including protein. You want to make sure, one thing is, again, if you are prioritizing it at every meal, let's say you're eating 5 meals a day, you're consuming 120 grams of protein at every a day. Well, if you take that 120 grams, divide it by 5, that's only 24 grams of protein per meal. It's not a ton of protein if you look at it that way, if you break it down, right? That can be, somewhere like 4 ounces of chicken, and you can be getting protein from other sources. Like 2 eggs would be 18 grams of protein. If I added some peanut butter to my toast, that's a couple more grams of protein. So I can hit that number easily without feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so full on protein, okay? You can supplement with protein shakes or protein bars. That's one way to add some extra protein if you struggle to get that in. Choose high protein options. So things like pasta that are high in protein. If you're choosing snacks and stuff like that, choose a high protein snack. Even if you're getting like, there's these cheesies that I love at the grocery store, and they're made with chickpeas, I think. Anyways, they're a higher protein. It's a higher protein snack. So I go for those options, right? So there's lots of different options that are higher protein. Include things like bone broth into your day. So I know there's people that drink it. I can't do that, but if you can, all the power to you. But you can add it to your soups. You can, instead of using like a vegetable broth or a chicken broth, you can add it to your stews or chilies. If I make chili in the crock pot, I just put a couple of scoops of bone broth in there instead of, any broth or no broth at all. Like I just add a couple of, scoops of the bone broth in there, and that's how I up my protein. But also watch proteins that are also high in carbs and high in fats, because that's an issue that clients often get into. Is they're like, well, I'm hitting my protein number, but my fats and carbs are really, really high. I don't know what's going on. You also have to look at that. Am I choosing things like beans? Beans are high, good protein source, but they're also high in carbohydrates. So choose them, absolutely. They're really great plant-based source of protein, but also know that you're going to be using up your carbohydrates in that way, right? Things like cheese is going to be high in protein, but also high in fat. Eggs are a really great source of protein, omega-3s. So you also want to make sure, but they're also high in fat. So, sometimes when I want to get more protein, I'll have 2 eggs, and I've added a 3rd egg, and it's really great. It ups my protein, but it also ups my fat. So you could do 2 eggs with egg whites added on. So that's a way to add extra protein without increasing the extra fat, if that works for you. So that's a way to do it. Instead of having 3 eggs, you can have 2 eggs and egg whites, and that's a way to up your protein without upping that fat content. Okay, so last thing I wanted to share with you is some really great sources of protein that are to make sure that you're getting that variety, right? We want to get a variety. We want to make sure that we're getting in protein, getting in all the essential amino acids that our body needs to help us function at its most optimal. We want to repair our cells. We want to build lean muscle. You need to prioritize protein. I can't say that enough. You're not going to build muscle by eating carbohydrates. Yes, it's going to make your muscles pop, so carbohydrates are very important, but we also, you're not going to build muscle by doing cardio. Cardio does not build muscle. It burns calories. So if you want to build muscle, you have to prioritize protein and you have to prioritize strength training. It is just common sense. So if you're doing more and more cardio, hoping to finally see that lean muscle, it is not going to work. You need to build muscle. So you need to, strength train. Okay, so here are a few sources of protein that will help you. And it's a big list. So it gives you a big variety of protein to choose from in order to hit those protein numbers every single day. So fresh and frozen cut meats, fish, poultry, seafood, dried meats, poultry and salmon such as meat sticks and jerky. Those are great sources of protein. Eggs, egg whites, beans, lentils, peas, products that are made of those things, right? Dairy products like Greek yogurt and cottage cheese, those are great sources of protein. And make sure you're looking at, your Greek yogurt and stuff like that, the labels, because not all Greek yogurts are created equal. So the one I get is Stododakis, and it's like 16 grams of protein per serving. So great source of protein there, but just make sure you're looking at it because not all are created equal. High protein versions of grains, wraps, breads, pasta, pancake mix. Like there's these protein up wraps that I like to get because there's 10 grams of protein in those wraps. There's, I'm forgetting the name of the pancake mix, but Kodiak pancakes are high in protein. So that's another great source of protein for you. If you want to get a pancake mix, they have it at Costco. Great source of protein. Edamame, soy products, high in protein. High protein sweets and ice cream. I know. Yep, if you are doing macros and flexible dieting, you can include those things in your daily plan. So that's what I love about it. And it's high in protein. We're looking at finding that balance between our macronutrients. Yes, you can still have a sweet treat and still be healthy. It doesn't make you unhealthy to eat those things. And then there's smaller amounts of protein found in things like grains, nuts, and seeds. So like things like quinoa, your peanut butter, your nut butters, and all of that stuff, you're going to have protein in them, but they're not going to be as high a source of protein. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I had like peanut butter because it's so great and high in protein, but it's also very high in fat, and so you just have to watch. You can't have like 3 cups of peanut butter to get that protein intake up. You're also going to be way over on your fat intake for the day. So that's just, so there's a couple of options for you. Now, that being said, I want you to remember that it's really important for us to prioritize that protein every single day. And if you're, so the one thing that I'm doing is specifically only offering it to those of you in this group is a protein audit. So I will send you just a quick quiz or questionnaire to ask you a few questions to see if you are getting in enough protein into your body to help it function at its most optimal. And then I'm going to be doing a protein audit. So you get a free protein audit video customized to you. It's like me talking to you. That's it. It's not one video that I'm sending out to everybody. It's a customized video to you. So let me know in the comments. I'm offering 5 free protein audits. And so put the word protein audit in the comments if you'd like to be one of the 5 to be included in the protein audit. So hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any specific questions about protein, put them in the comments and I'll answer those. I don't think I saw any specific questions come up, but if anything comes up in the meantime, just ask your questions below. I'll answer those for you later today, and hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to be one of the 5 to get a free protein audit, put in the comments below protein audit, and I will send you your questionnaire. All right, you guys, have a great day, and stay warm if you're in Alberta and it's -40 here. Take care. Love you all. Bye, guys.